Welcome to the Free to Soar podcast. My mission is to inspire, empower, and equip heart-centered, mission-driven, kingdom-minded business owners to show up freely and fully as the brilliant, powerful change makers that you are, so that you can lead the business and the life of your dreams. You'll enjoy vulnerable, authentic conversations with me and other heart-centered, mission-driven leaders that will spark your heart and ignite your passion to powerfully transform you, your business, and your life from the inside out. Your next level of impact and income is about unleashing the fullness of you, reprogramming your limiting beliefs and patterns, tapping into and trusting your inner wisdom, and harnessing God's power within you so that you can unlock new possibilities in your business and your life. And this show brings it to you. Step with me into a God-powered reality wilder than your wildest dreams, with freedom, impact, abundance, and enjoyment that you were created for. Let's go. Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. We got a treat for you today. I think this is the first time, actually, that I have had two people in the studio. And so I want to welcome today Lane and Payden Montgomery with Go Performance in Peachtree City. I can't wait for you to hear their story, and let's just dive in. So Lane and Payden, welcome to the podcast. Hi.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Yes, we're excited that you're here. And I literally am going to just dive in with you guys because I know you guys have got so much to share and there's so much good that y'all are doing. I can share that I have been a part of you guys are my workout place to go. And I have been coming to Go Performance since, this summer maybe?
Yep, that's correct.
Maybe spring. Mm-hmm. And it has been such an incredible experience. And I love what you guys are doing on so many levels. Not only with the workouts are top notch, but the community, the heart behind what you do. You're Christian business owners, and it's just you're the full package. So it's a beautiful thing. And I'm grateful for that. So I want you guys to share today with our listeners all about what you're about. So, I'll let y'all just talk, whoever wants to lead. But I want to hear tell me about how what's your why? What got you into this in the first place? How'd you get here? You go first, Lane.
Yeah. So, in my 20s, I'll start back in my 20s. I think it's for most of the time for people, it's kind of discovery. You're discovering who you are, what God's called you to do and be, and what your purpose is. Yeah. And I think for most people, when they're discerning that, it's a trial, right? So, I was slightly depressed. I was sad. I'd come home from work and lay on my sister's couch, figuring out hey, what I've been playing college football. I've been playing football my whole life, and now that's come to an end. I got a degree in math. I was applied math degree. And I'm going, I don't want to work behind a cubicle crunching numbers. And, and from there, I was like, what do I do? So it's funny. I went to church one day, actually with my older sister, and a guy, a really wise preacher. I went to him afterwards, I was crying, upset, going I don't know what God wants me to do. I feel like God's called me and ordained me to a purpose and a calling, but I don't know what it is. And he was like, Lane, the best thing I can tell you is you got to start moving. And I was like, okay, explain that a little farther. I feel like I am moving.
Move where?
Yeah, where? What do you want me to do? And he was like, well, can a captain steer a ship that's not moving? And the answer is no, you can't. And so he was like, you got to start moving and God's going to guide you. And so that's kind of what happened. I got into real estate. I was a personal trainer at this little bitty studio doing one-on-ones. I ended up being a banker. And then all of that, long story short, that's when I realized the best predictor of your future is your past. And what I love doing is I loved helping people. So I knew that was a priority. I love mentoring and caring for people. And the best way I knew how to do that was in the realm of, performance-based training, where it was athletes' performance or it was adults. And so God kind of guided me in that direction. And I got a job at Velocity Sports Performance here in Peachtree City. And because of a buddy from high school, believe it or not. So a guy from high school, he was going back to Life University. Stephen Johnson is his name. And he was like, man, you should come and work at Velocity. You'd be a great fit. And so he got me in touch with Joe Perdue at the time. And I came over and got the job. I wore a suit to my interview.
Because I said he should. I was like, you can't go on a job interview with no suit. I didn't know the culture of gyms at that time, but Joe Perdue was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it was funny. I was the only.
You over-delivered.
That's right. The only applicant with a suit. I was coming from banking. So that's about all I had was a suit. So, came in and started training. It's kind of funny. Most of the coaches there, really wanted to train athletes, and so did I. It's funny. You go into that role thinking that's all you're going to be doing. And, reality is the biggest need was the adults in the morning. And so I started training the adults in the morning because I needed to make money. I was married. I had a mortgage, and I was like, I don't care what it takes.
And I was in school, so we were like babies.
Yeah, babies.
Yeah,
so she was still going
trying to figure it out.
Yes, she was driving to school every week from Peachtree City to Birmingham. So she was at Stanford.
Wow.
So so anyway, that's we were trying to figure out how this was going to work, and really, long story short, we were Velocity went out of business, the economy went flat. They had a lot of overhead, and so I started training at a local gym. Based on I had cultivated a little bit of a following, from Velocity and Steve.
Oh, sure.
And so you ended up, just having like this organic, the adults, really love the adults. There's adults that are still with me today, that I trained at Velocity and trained at Speed and trained with me through the whole thing. And so, really, I felt like there was a need in the marketplace for a place like a Velocity, but not Velocity. Yeah. So Velocity was totally focused on athletes. And I knew that you can't focus a business on athletes because they're seasonal. As much as I love athletes and training athletes, I knew from a business standpoint, you just can't do it. And so many businesses that have been athlete performance only businesses, they come and go so fast. And so we prayed about it and was like, let's start looking for models that fit this mold, that looks like a Velocity, but it's not, that's focused around adults and 24/7. So that's basically where we started looking for the model. And I was like, and this is right after the recession. So there was like only a few gyms in town, right? There was really no training gyms. So like there were no CrossFits, there were no performance facilities. I think there was one, Explosive Mechanics. He was kind of out of a garage. And then there was just the big Globo gyms, right? And so my buddy who I went to school, my best man, he was like, dude, you got to come check out this gym up in Atlanta. It's called Go Performance. It's a really cool model. I think it's, it'd be cool if you opened something like this. So I went up there and checked it out. It was like a perfect fit. I mean, like they did, it was funny at the time, how our models changed. Or the original model of Go Performance was semi-private, actually.
6-1.
So it was 6-1.
How about that?
With a large group aspect of it, but it was just tacked on to the semi-private. So,
and let me just for listeners who don't know what you're talking about, if just in case 6-1, meaning the 6-1 ratio, 6 people to a coach, a semi-private training rather than a large group training model.
Yep, that's true.
So it sounds like it was a hybrid, but the main focus was the 6-1 semi-private.
That's correct.
Model, and we'll come to that more. Yeah. I want people to understand that because we're going to come more to that in a few minutes.
But that because that was 2011.
Yeah, that was 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
I got in there, and my limiting belief opening the gym is people won't pay for it. And so I dumbed it down to where, I was so apprehensive and thinking, I'm not worth this. This is not worth that. We opened an awesome facility. on Sonora Road, and like, I was dumbing down the prices for athletes. I was dumbing down the prices for our adults, and we got a lot of members, but we weren't making much money. So it was like I gave.
Yeah, I was going to say you were overgiving and undervaluing, which is correct. I talk a lot about that on this podcast. We as service-based business owners, that is an epidemic. As heart-centered people who want to help people, we don't believe that they will value it, and we don't know how to help them value it. So we just naturally overgive and underdeliver. I mean, undervalue and overgive.
Yep.
And then we end up in burnout and depletion and resentment and all of those things. So anyway, go ahead.
All that happened. And so, literally all that happened. And I was working, kind of give the listeners a good idea. I mean, literally I was going in at, 5:10, 5:15 in the morning. I'd get there. I wouldn't get out of the gym till 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Almost every day. I did that for years. I did that all the way up until COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
He opened the gym in 2012, and COVID is when he had self-imposed not self-imposed breaks.
Right.
Yeah.
It was imposed for him. And I haven't shared my story, but I had a very similar, not at COVID, mine was several years ago, but same. At some point we all hit that place where our body can't keep up. We are so resentful that we start to have health problems, or that, it's coming out some way, or that we, start to self-sabotage in some way. Some people have that, or something happens that forces us to have to stop, and it sounds like COVID was that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So oftentimes those things that feel like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart, or everything looks like this is the worst thing ever for my business, is the thing that actually the breakdown creates the breakthrough.
Yeah. When we were starting the business, when he's working those crazy long days, I can weave this back to my story, but we had 2 babies be born 2 years apart. The road in front of our business closed like right after I quit my corporate job, and have 2 kids in diapers. And I just remember thinking, like, the sky is surely going to fall. Like, no one can get to us. Like, everyone would come and like, you don't pass through a detour sign, even though they were allowing traffic. So it was just, we've had several moments of like, oh my gosh, hurdle, a little bit of progress, hurdle. But he was working very long hours for a very long time.
Yeah. Just wearing yourself out, and felt like, I'm sure that it was all on your shoulders. Like, just the burden that you feel of, I've got to make this work. I've got to have this. I got to make this go. I mean, because it is your very livelihood.
Sorry. Yeah.
You've poured everything into it.
You have no choice but to make it work, which is the true grit of an entrepreneur, right? Like,
right.